guys, we live on Monday night, and we want to start off, Smoke and Carry. How dare you? How dare you criticize the only guy that's still able to grow his hair? Right?
That don't mean it's good.
Carl, I think you're wrong. See, I can grow my hair and have the same lineup like yours back here, like you and Stephen A. Smith. I can do that too. Hey, don't hold your head down. Do like my man Sugar Ray be doing. You hold his head up like this. Oh.
Just choose not to, right, Smoke? Because you know what's best for you.
Yeah, man. My thing gonna be, I gotta recreate it every week, man. Come on, when you go to the bar, like, man, touch that up right there.
Hey, get that LeBron.
No, this line right here.
Go a little higher. Go a little higher.
No,
you're a little low.
No,
go a little high. By the inch.
That's the ring light, bro. That's the
that's
light.
go a little higher.
No, sir.
No, that line crooked, baby. Go a little higher. Go a little higher. Go a little higher. You
no,
you're
sir.
very top.
Oh, man. I know y'all are just trying to entice me to go bald. What Smoke? What Kerry won't tell you? I'm the first person that ever shaved his head bald back in the day. Anyway, right?
Yours just grew back. Kerry's didn't.
Mine.
No, I had long hair, Smoke. I had hair down to my shoulders.
Oh, I know you had the. I remember you had the braid.
I had locks. I used to be able to swing but when you get older, Reed. I just said I couldn't. I didn't feel comfortable. You more.
Don't swing your head too hard because I don't want you to have a concussion on you.
Yeah, I don't either. I didn't have my fair share of them.
Guys,
you've had your fair share of giving them.
Them too. Don't make no mistake, but I've had my fair share of them as well.
he didn't gave a man receipt, but it's like you said a week ago, Smoke. You get them because who wants to play fullback anyway?
Nobody else. Not a center. Center's a fullback. Oof.
Now, we didn't throw centers in there. Listen, we're going to get started with this. Smoke is going to hate this conversation to start off the show. But, B. Clay, I'm going to start with you on this because you are our resident basketball expert. Diana Taurasi, who, in my opinion, greatest women's player of all time, especially at least the most decorated from a championship standpoint, and what she's done at every level. Retiring. Brandon, what will be her impact going away on women's basketball?
She was obviously great, right? Like just her ability night in and night out for 25 years, right? Like going back to her UConn days, which is crazy to think about it being that long of a stretch. Longevity-wise, aren't many that have done it at the length. And honestly, I think Taurasi and her greatness, it's the annals of history. I don't know if there's a women's basketball player whose longevity extends past hers. She's been doing it for a long, long time at an extremely high level. Obviously the past couple of years, Father Time is undefeated, and it's kind of walked her down a little bit. But I mean, at her height, she was just a bucket. She scored it as well as anybody that I've ever watched play. Different way than, say, a Candace Parker in terms of how they scored the basketball, what it looked like to my eye. But both of them, I think for the generation, if you were, a 2000s UConn Tennessee fan, she personified that matchup, right? Candace Parker did on one side, she on the other. Obviously, Holdsclaw and the group before that at UConn would have done the same in the latter part of the 90s. You hate to see her go, right? I think to your discussion, Reed, about the Father Time, walking back your line, Taurasi. Taurasi retiring speaks to kind of, just the aging process and how things change. And then I know Smoke's going to love this. As Taurasi walks out, in walks Caitlin Clark. The game is still in great hands.
Yes, sir. Dang.
Smoke, are you really going there? Smoke. Are we really doing that, Smoke?
What are we doing? Listen, all the man said I agree with was, soon as Taurasi walks out, goodbye, here comes the other one. That's going to take the game to a whole nother level, sell out arenas. She's going to bring what the women's basketball game needs. It's a lot of eyes and butts and seats.
Kerry, I'm not ready to hear Smoke foolishness yet.
Hey, B. Clay, was that something wrong with that?
No, I mean you heard what I said. I hit you with the podcast version of the amen with agree. I think the difference in Caitlin and Diana. Diana really, she was just here to hoop for real. She was here to hoop. She was here to get down. Like, she didn't really care what sneakers she was on. Like, it wasn't any of that type of stuff. She was just trying to hoop. Where Caitlin Clark, in a cool way, respectful way, right, has done a really good job, especially the last 18 months, of cultivating her image, the fashion, the fits. Like, she got with the stylist, wore the Prada all season. The Nike design jacket. I was in Iowa City to start February for her retirement. And even the jacket that day with the details and the tags. And, you know, obviously the signature shoe was on the way. She's really taken it to another level in terms of the same level of play, at least early in her career. Who knows if she'll have the longevity, but early in her career, same level of play as Taurasi right out the gate, same level of play as Taurasi at the collegiate level in terms of statistical performance. Didn't have the same roster read, so doesn't have the championship pedigree that Taurasi had. Respect to Taurasi, but Caitlin Clark has done what she's supposed to do so far as a player, so I don't see any fault there in Smoke. And the Indiana looks like they're retooling their roster. Some great moves of free agency. DeWanna Bonner, Sophie Cunningham. They went and got some goons around her. So it'll be interesting now, to your point, Reed, when she walks into a gym with very, very comparable talent to the people across from her. Could she be the reason why her team wins the championship? And I think for the first time in Caitlin Clark's career, college and a pro, we're going to get an answer to that here in the next 24 months.
You know what, B. Clay, the only thing that I'm going to disagree with what you said is you didn't say a sellout. Jim, sellout.
Fair, yeah.
Sellout.
Hey, arenas too, not just gyms. Yeah. They continue to change venues for what Caitlin Clark's doing.
Standing room only.
The thing you have to give credit to is the players that you know built this up to where it is now. Absolutely. Like, I think all of Diana Taurasi is part of that lineage of hoopers. Like you talked about it, B. Clay, the Tennessee and UConn rivalry, like the way Gino Auriemma, Coach Summit, like them going back and forth, number one, number two for years, for decades, knowing that they had hoopers coming out of them schools. It was just, it's what allows Caitlin Clark to be on the level that she is now. She is outstanding. Make no mistake about it. It's another one that's on their way, and let's be clear about that. Juju, she's on her way. She's on her way. So let's slow our roll on who is the next. We because Juju can go.
Smoke, don't make that face, Smoke.
Juju can go.
Smoke, don't make that face.
This for me, this is probably, I mean, I think the WNBA, this is the best thing that has happened for the women's game. Like, but the legacy of what these women that have done before her, before Caitlin Clark got to this point, and before Juju ever steps foot on a WNBA court, like you're talking about some legends and some great hoopers, you know, that really transcended the game. So salutes to Diana Taurasi for what she's done. Top point getter in the WNBA history right now. She's been outstanding in her career, and you got to give your hats off to that woman for what she was able to do during her time in the WNBA.
No doubt.
Smoke, you made when he said something about,
I don't know what he did that for.
Juju, you made a crazy face.
I don't know why he did that.
He Juju being the face of the game.
No, hold on, Reed. He tricking you, Smoke. He tricking you. What he said was, we got to hold on about who's next. And I had the same facial reaction, Smoke, where all of us, I got to watch Juju in person a month ago in Iowa City. She is phenomenal. Fantastic. The bun is always perfect. Hey, her bun reminds me of like Pat Riley hair back in the day when he was coaching. It never moved. That's what we just said. That bun sit right there, dog. Hey, they won the championship the other night. She not putting the cap on. The bun's sitting there. She chilling. But to Caitlin's credit, is that she got it done in college and now is already in the league and has done the same thing. But Juju's tough. Like, I think Juju has a chance to come in and do right away in the league what Caitlin has done in the league, and that's be a top 15 player in the league within 12 months. She has the opportunity to do that. There's no question about it.
Smoke, Brandon tried to save you.
Save me?
Right?
I'm not, listen.
No, but why did you make that face?
Listen, first and foremost, I can swim, okay? So I don't need a life raft. Right, I can put me out there. I'm talking about so far out, it's deep with the sharks. I can swim back. All right. I'm not saying that. You said that. The facial expression said, next one up. We already have the next one up. The next one after Caitlin this is her second year in the league. Juju's not even in the W yet. So let's stop it. When she gets there, we can have this conversation. But for right now, it's Caitlin's world. Stop.
He wants us to knock it out. Listen, we're going to transition to the next thing. When it comes to stop, I'm going to say stop about something. and Smoke, I'm gonna start with you. We ended with you last time. We gotta stop saying that Shedeur Sanders hurt himself by not throwing and working out in the combine. Smoke, what say you?
Smart decision. Why? Why is he throwing at the combine? What is he going to gain from throwing at the combine? Like, it's not even that. A lot of people think it moves the needle. Throwing those 8 routes does nothing. Most of those guys get so ready to get out of there, they can't wait. It's really, if you have a problem with somebody, you're going to keep it a problem. I mean, when Cam Newton went out there and threw, like, it was ugh. Right? It didn't even look good, but he still went number 1 overall. Caleb didn't even show up and didn't even do anything last year at the combine. And he still went first overall. I think what Shedeur is doing is intentional and it's smart. They're getting ready for the Big 12 Pro Day. And I think that's where it's going to get to, Reed. And again, you know me, I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I also watch the trends. They're making a lot of way in terms of TV revenue and sharing with college teams. I can see where there's going to be a tie-in in the next few years where the SEC have their pro day, the Big 10 has their pro day, the Big 12 already have their pro day, and the ACC have their pro day, and tie that all into the network contracts. Because it's less and less that players are performing at the combine. And a lot of that is coming down to the fact that a lot of these guys, Reed, they're getting money already. So they have zero desire really for the love of the game. Okay, when we went out there, we were trying to get bags. They already got their bags. So they're not working out because some of them don't even want to play. They're just showing up like, man, if I do what I do, if I don't work out, so what? But the guys, the rumors I'm getting out of the combine, the NFL is getting frustrated with the better players not showing up and even doing the bare minimum at the combine. And the combine is losing the fandom. Because before you saw Lucas Oil was always sold out. He come close to being capacity a few years ago, if you remember C. Davis. Yeah. Now it's like it sounds like a golf match in there.
Well, that's also the crazy part is I'm watching the draft over the weekend and you hear the announcer saying some of the front office people don't like the fans being in there. Like they feel like it's an issue. So which one is it? You know what I mean? Like for me, if you know you're a top draft pick and you don't want to work out in that combine, so what? You know what I'm saying? Like if you show up for the meetings, you show up for the interviews, you do the off the field stuff, you have the conversations. For me, I always found it weird that a person's stock could jump up at the combine. You didn't watch him play football? Mm-mm. You didn't watch him play? Like, can he play or not? Because this guy's that stock drop that jumps up at the combine that can't play dead. Right. But they're so enamored by size and speed and how many times you bench press. Right. Tell me a time on the NFL on a football field that you lay on your back and you pushing somebody off of you. When somebody dump you. Exactly. That's when it's good. Get off me. You should have got him off of you before you got to that point. You should let him get on you. Why do I care how many times I can get do this motion while I'm laying on my back? If I'm good at that, okay. Right. Like, show me things that translate. I want to see your film. I want to see, and if your film matches what you do at the pro day, maybe you run a little bit faster than you did on film. Maybe you're a more explosive player. Maybe your routes are crisper, but it's still done in shorts. Right. That gives me nothing. Right. I need to see you in football pads because last time I checked, football is played in pads with 11 other people trying to cause harm to you. Right. So if you're not able to do that, then I don't care what you do on a Saturday evening or a Thursday evening at the combine when you done trained for months to be your best at this moment. Show me what you do on film, and I'll tell you who you got.
Reed, you know what? A couple of things I'm going to throw out about the combine. One, I only went to the combine, and I thought the combine was always interesting for confirmation. What I saw in film didn't match up. If I thought that you were 4'4" guy, and now you go to the combine and you run a 4.3, 4.4, great. He's always fast. If I thought that you didn't play as fast and you get to the combine and you ran faster, I'm going to say, okay, Why is he running this fast at the combine, but his film says he's not playing this fast? Then that's when I got to go back and do some different things on you to make sure that I get it right. But all of the combine was for medical, interviews, and confirmation from your testing numbers. Because there's a lot of guys. I'm going to give you, for example, Shedeur Stewart. Shedeur Stewart, Texas A&M, number 4, edge rusher, 6'5", 267 pounds, ran a 4.59, broad jump a 10+, vertical at 40.5, right? Okay, Shedeur had 2 sacks, 35 hurries.
Is he better than the guy on the other end, on the opposite side? Stroud?
Yeah.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. For the simple fact of this now, kid, and this is where the conversation begins. And what you're saying is not wrong, because Nick put on a better show in terms of playing football. Just hear me out. Playing football.
I'm agreeing.
Right?
Yeah.
But when I go back, you study those 35 hurries. Some of those hurries, he pushed the quarterback to Nick so he can have those sacks. So that's why I'm always saying you have to do the work in order for those numbers to pop up and be like, great. Because we've seen guys that test well. We've seen guys in OTAs, minicamp, look great. Every running back that you blocked for in OTAs and minicamp, they ran through that daggone line like they were tough because they knew they weren't going to get laid out by James and Larry Foote. When the pads came on doing 2-a-days, there was a little bit more tippy-toeing and trying to say, Kerry, man, clean that hole up for me a little bit. Dude, minicamp, you was running right. You weren't even waiting for my block. So it's all to me for confirmation. The next thing I'm going to touch on is this. We've seen the Los Angeles Rams not even send anyone there other than their medical staff there for the last few years. And I'm going to say they've hit in the last few years on their draft picks. They haven't sent any representatives there for the combine. The Philadelphia Eagles are sending like a bare bones skeleton crew at the combine. So NFL teams are showing you that we're sending less and less scouts here. So if the players are seeing less and less scouts at the combine, the NFL seeing less and less people show up at Lucas Oil to watch it, yeah, it's telling you where this thing's going. And even in the last thing, Reed, I know I'm a little bit long. We got to slow down with this college schedule because we're not giving these young people enough time to even be prepared, being rested to go and participate at the combine. Because the college schedule looks like this. Right now, they're going through spring ball. They just finished winter workouts, going through spring ball. Once they finish with spring ball, they're going to get maybe a week or so off, and that's not even a week or so. It's a few days. And then you get back into off-season training for the summertime. And then from the summertime, you get into fall camp. Fall camp, there's a potential that you're going to have to run through a 16-game season all the way back to close to January, February to get ready again for the championship games. And then from there, you have the All-Star games. And from the All-Star games, you leave there and you go get prepared for the combine. So at what point are we giving the young players time for their body to rest and recover? Got to look at that as well, too.
Well, when you think about that, does the combine start to hold less value? Do we see the combine in the next few years start to get phased out?
Yeah.
The players don't want to participate. And when we talk players, it's only 2 guys, right? It was Cam and Shedeur.
Yeah, but Cam and Shedeur, yes, because of their names, right? And that's one that we know about.
Right.
But there were a lot more players that didn't participate in the workout. In the quarterback group, there was only 3 that tested, Reed.
Here's the problem for me and why I think it shouldn't be phased out, because if you're the problem a lot of teams have is you only focusing on the first round guys. Like, it's guys you're going to need in the 2nd through 7th round.
There you go.
Need to evaluate them as well.
Well,
you can't just say, oh, Cam didn't work out or Shedeur didn't work out. This is a waste of my time. Hey, man, that's probably why you're going to be looking for a job in a couple of years, because you don't know how to draft an entire damn team. It don't stop after the first round. You have to work the entire 7 rounds and after to find undrafted rookies, guys that can add value to your roster as well.
Kerry Davis, Gerald Dixon.
Like, I had a teammate who was undrafted, our team drafted a player from his school at the same position. The undrafted player made the team and the drafted player did not. So if you stop because, they're not working out, who gives a damn? Right. Who is working out? How can I make my team better? Right. It for me, man, football is too much. It'd be too much softness in the game. Like, yeah, man, just do your job, baby. Work and grind and find pieces that add value to your team so that when you get to November, December, and January, them 5th, 6th, 7th round guys that nobody took a look at are helping you win championships.
And Reed, I don't think the combine is going to get phased out. I just think that the group of the P4 level schools, especially the Big Ten, ACC, SEC, Big Ten, they have a bigger audience. But still, yet you still have FCS, Division II players, right? Guys that still need to group of 5 players that aren't going to have that one site where you have the pro day, that you're not going to have all 32 teams that's going to be represented at your pro day. So at the combine, for the most part, you have all 32 teams represented to take medical, character, and just to see how you work. Because a lot of, like Kerry said, a lot of the times, the coaches that are working those on the field drills, they're also evaluating you as well too. Because there's the part of it is, are you coachable? Can you take instruction and apply it to what you're being taught to do? The good ones can. The ones that have learning difficulty struggle with that. So those are the notes you're taking back too. You're like, I had to send this guy over the bag drills 10 times just because he didn't know how to go over the first one, shuffle on the second one, hop over the third one, and run through the 5th. Like, he couldn't get simple instructions. Is he coachable? When I spoke to him, I said, hey, man, listen, knock it off and do that. Because one of the things that I always did was I always had one of our interns give one of the big name guys instruction to see, are you going to willing to follow or are you going to butt the system? And the ones that do, you just come back and you take note on that. And it's not that you're not going to draft him, but that's a knock on his inability to take direction from an authority.
I've got a question, fellas. Hold on. In y'all's opinion, this is my take, but I'd love to get y'all's feedback. If I was evaluated from an NFL perspective, I'm going to put way more emphasis on, say, the Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl than on the Combine. Like, you look at the Senior Bowl and the turnout year in and year out, Mobile's got it popping, man. Like, I know obviously Jim is moving to Oklahoma, but that feels like that's kind of replaced the Combine in terms of maybe importance. What's y'all's take? Do y'all see it the same way? I like it because at least they're playing around in terms of the shorts. They don't have shorts on, man.
Right. Well, B. Clay, here's what I say. The important thing for the Combine was always medical for me, right? Because all 32 teams are represented there. They're all getting back the same medical report on the players. Like, the football part of it, that's where the scouts, the scouts got to do a better job of having conviction who they want. Just like Kerry said, go watch the film. If the film says take them, take them. Confirmation of what you believe that player is when he showed up. Is he as explosive as you thought he is? Yes. If not, okay, take a jot on that. But you're not going to take him from the 1st to the 7th because he ran a 4.2. Now I'm paying you for the wrong thing. But the medical and the character check, because you have everybody there, I think it's super important because you can't truly get medical at those all-star sites. Makes sense. And medical for me, super important because if you're buying a rotten product, you don't know how long it's going to last, and you're putting in millions into that player.
I think the thing is when we're talking about scouting and evaluating, what are guys doing all throughout the season too, because you got scouts on the road every week watching practice, watching tapes. A lot of the big-time college programs have created offices for scouts to be able to go in and evaluate tape. There's a lot of guys that don't know what they're looking at on tape, and they don't understand how certain players may fit into their system. And I think that happens at every level, on every staff.
Reed, you know what? The most interesting thing that I believe a lot of people miss out on is a character. And everybody's always talking about character. No, he's a good kid. He showed no. That's not it. Football character also counts as well, too. What type of human being is? Is he a worker? Does he have a why? Is he going to outwork his opponent? And that goes into you digging and you also understanding the school that you're recruiting and getting pertinent information from your sources. And there are a lot of young guys unproven scouts that are out there that are doing Google checks. They're not going into St. Louis. And even though Carl Reed's a high school coach, Reed, if you coach a guy at Oklahoma, I ain't calling all the Oklahoma guys. I'm gonna get your number through Kerry Davis. Kerry, you played with Carl, didn't you? Yeah. Can you show me his number? Let me call him and ask him about this player. And I know listen, you're gonna say Reed now, that's my man. Show it to him straight. But I'm collecting information from his high school. So I'm going to the third layer instead of just looking at just the surface level layer of the player. You see what I'm saying? So that's where you see the Howie Roseman, how they separate themselves, Les Needs, how they get that draft process right, because they're putting a lot of onus on their scouts, but they're also doing extra digging to find out who that player is to the core. And within that, they're having coaches that can handle those players. There's a reason why Jalen Carter is playing well in Philly. Look who that defensive line coach is. Look who that guy is that's coaching Nolan Smith.
And they know how those guys fit in their system. They know exactly what they're going to ask those guys to do. And they've identified that through the evaluation process. And evaluation and rankings is not the same thing at all. It's not the same thing. Smoke, we got a question here from Coach Stokes. Are you saying is them taking the Wonderlic test big for you?
All depending on what position. Like the position that had a lot to do with intelligence, focus, and understanding, attention to detail, yes. And a lot of the times when people look at the Wonderlic test, they try to see how high they're. Sometimes you have to look at the Wonderlic test to understand, do they have a learning disability? Some kids have learning disabilities, and we don't know because they've never been properly tested for it. And there's a metric on it, and I don't want to get too far into it, on the Wonderlic test. If you're testing in the teens, historically, they said you have somewhat of a learning disability. So now that I see the test, I can go back into that and dig a little bit deeper into that player's history. But the quarterback position, safety position, middle linebacker position, yes, you want those guys to have the Wonderlic scores in the high 20s and in the 30s.
Because they got to make a lot of calls. They got
correct, and they got a lot of information that they have to process and make a quick decision and move on.
Kerry, who are some of the guys or a guy or two that impressed you from the combine this weekend?
I didn't. So I was in and out watching it. I was surprised with the guy Golden from Texas, how fast he ran. That was electric because I didn't expect that. Smoke talked about the kid from South Carolina and how well he performed. I was probably more shocked by some of the quarterback throws. I think Will Howard struggled mightily, and I get it, man. I understand that you're throwing to receivers that you are not familiar with. They might be cutting the route short. Their speed is a little bit different. But I think you got to make some throws if you're going to play at the next level. So that was a bit shocking to me. I think we talked about Luther Burden, the kid from St. Louis. He ran really well, ran a 4.42. That was
Faster
good.
Than what I thought. Faster than what I thought. Faster than what I thought.
Faster than what I thought too.
Yeah, I didn't see 4.4 on the football field when I cut the film.
Yeah, I think Luther has shown more explosiveness, in and out, but the straight line takeoff. I think the one play he had, I think it was against South Carolina where he scored the touchdown to give Mizzou the lead late in that game. He showed electric speed in that play. But I think at times you didn't see enough of that because my whole time, I thought Theo Weiss was faster than him. Theo Weiss plays faster on film than Luther has all year long. And so I don't know if it was an injury he was dealing with. I don't know if something was slowing him down, but to go out there and run a 4.42, I think that he made himself some money this past week because he was able to run that time, and he's showing some teams that he does have that explosiveness and that electric top end speed. So I thought that was really good for him as well.
Now, wait a minute. I feel lied to right now, Kerry and Smoke. I feel lied to. Brandon, Kerry and Smoke just lied to me. This is why. Y'all just got through telling all the listeners to watch tape, to watch film. Will Howard won the national championship.
He did. So
what are we talking about?
And now you on here saying that You don't like his combine
And
performance.
Kerry, let me get this. Let me get. I got
Go ahead.
because I believe our brother Carl Reed has selective.
He picks and chooses.
Yeah, selective hearing and selective memory, and he overpays his barber. All right, so we got to fix it.
We're gonna get back to that before the end.
All right, so Reed, from last spring at the spring portal show that we did down in Florida, what was my initial comment on Will Howard? Because I did him as well too.
You didn't think he was good enough. You thought that they should have went in another direction.
No, that's not what I said.
I remember that's what you said.
Okay, go back.
No, you actually, in all seriousness, you said you can win with them, but you won't win because of.
There you go. Now, he's not a bad quarterback, Kerry, in terms of accuracy, but he's not Drew Brees, where a guy can go out there and it don't matter if it's me, you, Carl, or Brandon running routes. He can time it up just because that's who he is as a passer. He needs the ball in his hands with chaos around him to be truly effective, because a lot of his plays come when he's off script and it's broken down. Like the RPO accuracy stuff, I didn't have a problem with his accuracy all year. Some guys just aren't good with going out and playing and throwing routes on air.
Smokes, go back to that real quick though, because you said RPO.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're calling RPOs, you're telling, you're either handing it off or you're throwing it to this receiver right here. It's probably a slant route. Maybe it's a go route. It's probably not a dig route. It's probably not a comeback. It's probably something where I got to get the ball out quickly. So before my offensive lineman get downfield and I get a penalty thrown. So it's something that's coming out quickly. And it's not the same type of throws that are being thrown at the combine. You're not running that and running digs. You're not running that and running corners. The ball has to be thrown quickly. So
it's not the same as concept throwing.
It's
not nearly the same.
And again, there's a couple other factors I don't think that people put into play. They're throwing with a different football for the first time. They've been practicing with it for the last few months. But a college football, and I don't have my NFL football, and an NFL football are two different football in their shapes. Okay. Second, a lot of these guys were asked to throw from taking a snap from under center. A lot of these guys don't operate in the world of under center. They operate in the world of shotgun. So it's catch, rhythm, throw. When you have to time up your feet, back foot hit, 3-step hits, back foot hit, 5-step, let it rip, that takes time. It's not something natural.
You may have guys who haven't taken a snap under center in high school.
Ever.
The first time they've done it was the last month or so when they're training. So now that you go to the combine, like anxiety, nervous, everything is now heightened. And that's what I'm saying. If you know your client, you have to do a better job of saying, hey, listen, now we're not going to throw here. We're going to wait until the pro day where now I can give you a throwing script that we're going to work off of. So you don't have Kerry Davis, Smoke Dixon saying, man, what about Will Howard? Like Will Howard is an NFL level quarterback. He's had a bad day. And when you say Kerry on tape, like, there's not a lot that he needed to do with that Ohio State team.
Correct.
All he had to do was just don't screw it up and get out the way.
You got a lot of talent around you.
Both your running backs, and that's another thing that we're going to touch on. Because, Reed, you ain't even asked me, but I'm going to tell you. Impression, the running backs. And we're not talking about this is the deepest running back class in NFL football history. We haven't seen – Reed, listen to me now, bro.
I'm listening.
Anytime
somebody say history, it just makes I got to go through my Rolodex.
Go through your Rolodex. We have not seen a group this deep. I'm not saying – I'm not saying like the top 3 guys are first rounders. I'm just saying from number 1 to 20 something. You can get a starter from the first round to the 5th round. This is how deep it is. DJ Gideons, the guy that put my man Shiloh in the knee buckle, that's a big man that ran 4.4 something. Hampton, Judkins, Etienne, Travion
Sampson. Yeah, they were all good.
All of them. We walked up, but everyone is so worried about the 2 or 3 quarterbacks that we're losing sight of the deepest running back class. This is not something sexy and everybody wants to hear about.
Well, that's because people don't care about running back, Smoke.
They don't.
Like Aston Genty didn't do anything.
Right.
Did anybody say anything about that?
Nope.
He
Well,
measured
you guys are speaking my language right now because we're talking about it being a shallow quarterback class, but it being the deepest running back class ever.
The rock.
Which leads to one thing, Brandon Clay.
Run the rock.
People should be running the rock. Run the football. Run inside zone, outside zone, power, strong, counter, weak. Put you a run game in there.
Hey, hold on. Let me hit the call. Here's the Carl Reedism. Hold on, give me a Carl Reedism. The chances of you having a guy walking your halls who can run the rock in college is much greater than throw the rock. Run the rock.
But when we talk about running the rock, look at this offensive line class. Bro, deep. You might get 9 guys in like just solid 9 first-round offensive linemen that can go line them up day one play.
You know the one. What's the one we were talking about the other day? Smoke Ashanti Ursery from Minnesota. We've been talking about him all
last
summer long.
And he goes out there at 6'8" and puts on a show. But we're still wanting to talk about Cam Ward and Shedeur. Like, no, those guys are good. The D-line class, impressive. If you want to get your trenches right this year in the NFL, go get you a few. And I'm talking about O-line, D-line. And to tap that off, go get you a running back. So any of these running back free agents that say they want $15 million, man, if there's a GM that pays a running back $15 million with this running back class, go sign yourself up in the class of just malpractice of the owner's money. They're young guys. I'm telling you, Reed, I haven't seen.
That's going to come down to your scouts. Did your scouts position you well to have those guys evaluated?
Reed, my 7-year-old daughter is going to go through that list.
She knows more than a lot of guys that we know. You know,
Reed,
I ain't gonna. You know,
Reed, the Kerry, you're a running back guy.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Neal, Kansas.
Yeah, I like him. He didn't run fast. He didn't run as fast. He ran a 4.58. But I really like Devin Neal.
That's good enough.
I agree. But you know, like I know that when guys is running 4.4s, 4.44, 4.43, you look at a Devin Neal and then you compare him to a Donovan Edwards. I think Devin Neal is better.
He got better vision and better feel.
And got a little more looseness to him,
yes.
And will run you up. But the top end speed for some people is gonna scare them. And you know that just like I know that. But to me, I was excited to see him.
Right. How many times have we seen running backs score 50-yard runs in the NFL?
You don't see it very often.
I'm just trying to get chunk yards. Just go get me 15 to 20.
Yeah.
15 to 20, will pop it off, and that defense will wear it down to now where you're 4.58. It's fast enough. We saw him play against Colorado. He didn't look like he was running 4.6.
No.
In the fourth quarter, he looked like he was a 4.4 guy.
Downhill.
He gets stronger as the game goes on. What you need out of a back?
Man, I'm telling you, Reed, I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this group like this.
Smoke, we talked about another kid the last couple of days, Jahad Campbell, the linebacker at Bama.
Mm-hmm.
What's his projection?
I think he is Fred Warner all over, but a better pass rusher. Like he's a transfer that came in from Georgia to Bama 2 years ago. Play off the ball, instinct, speed, burst, violent as hell, can cover in the pass game, line him up because he was an edge player coming out of high school. Line him up on the edge. He's going to give you that work. Got the ability to bend, get skinny, speed to power, understands how to use his hands, long arm. He has the full arsenal. And it should have been a Buckets Award winner, but they gave him to that guy at Georgia. Bank robbery.
So, a lot of high school guys watching the combine, and they're going to be tested when they go into the camp circuit this year. They're going to have to run 40s. They're going to have to run the short shuttle. They're going to pretty much do everything except for I don't think many places do the bench press test for high school kids.
No.
Right? No. What should high school kids be taken away from watching the NFL Combine and the level of competitiveness that they need to have?
Truly understand the process of how most of those guys that are running 4.4s and 4.3s, they weren't running 4.3s in high school, but they got bigger, stronger, faster. So if you go out there, and again, I'm going to tell you, if you go to a camp, run, because you need a baseline of who you are. If you run a 4.5 in high school, that's plenty fast. 4.4 without strength and conditioning, and in 3 years, you should be running a 4.2. But very rarely are you going to get a 16 or 15-year-old running a 4.3 or 4.4. So they're probably looking at these numbers. Those aren't your numbers. Those are numbers that 4 or 5 years away that they've built up and trained for those 2 runs. But the thing that I would say, Reed, going away, when you go to camps, any camp that you go to, go run and do every single drill that you're asked to do. You don't have the liberty of NFL players to say, well, you come to my pro day. You don't have a pro day. You have camp right now. And they already got college paid for. They're trying to move on to be professionals. You need college to be paid for by getting the scholarship, unless you're one of those top 10 guys at your position nationally, not regionally, nationally.
You know, I talked to Brandon about this a lot. Basketball and football, 2 different things. So Brandon has one of the top. He likes to be modest about it. He has one of the top 3 women's AAU basketball organizations in the country, sponsored by Adidas. I give you a plug right there with Adidas B.
Stan Smith, I need that, B.
If you're going to plug it, Reed, plug it right. What's the name of it?
Southeast All-Stars.
Yeah,
okay.
Southeast All-Stars.
Luke, give the man his props. What you doing?
I mean, big time as it gets, right? But when you take your team to events, they actually are getting to play in front of the college coaches. That's the advantage that they have, right? We don't have that in football in terms of being able, like the 7-on-7 tournaments. I was just at a big one. There's no college coaches there evaluating. It is writers, recruiting service guys. But from an AAU standpoint, Brandon, don't you feel like the kids have to go compete in front of the coaches to be taken seriously at all?
Absolutely. I mean, not a question. We've talked about her several times on the show, but, Kate Harpering and the ascent, right? What she did last year in front of coaches, right? Now, it's one thing to do it in front of people, writers, you go back and it's kind of like this mythical thing that this person did. This person ran a 4.19 in the dark. And that's the thing I do like about the Combine, again, is putting the speed to the film. Hey, so-and-so looks like this. Luther Burden, whom I love, Carl and I, we've had multiple conversations. You always felt like there was a step missing. And you saw that, right? You saw the step that you felt like you were missing, the reason why you thought you loved him so much. So now what you said, go back and dig. Is there something in the medicals? Is there something that maybe we didn't get uncovered? Was there a heel injury on the right thing that he played through all year? Like just figuring that stuff out, where I think in the summertime from a high school perspective, and here's a kicker too, that we don't talk about but still happens. The Adidas camp circuit or the Nike camp circuit on the boys' side, those college counselors play games. You remember the footage of LeBron getting erased, right? Like we got dunked on, they erased the footage. But Dame Lillard does a camp, the Agent Zero camp for Dame Lillard, and they have college counselors, and those guys play basketball at night, right? Like those stories get to where they're supposed to go, to the people they're supposed to get to from an NBA standpoint. And you don't have that in football. You don't have that luxury. So your point about, Howie and what he's done, Georgia guys almost always pay it. Like whatever the projection is, they almost always meet it or they're better than projected, right? When they get to the league. So where am I going to go? To the place where they almost always pay it. You look at Lab McConkey, you look at Brock Bowers, you look at obviously we call them the Philly Dogs, but you look at the Philly Dogs on defense. And those guys have all panned, Rita. So I think going back and Shedeur Sanders, I want to touch on this. What I love that he did, and I know this is different again than the basketball circuit, but when he was asked the question about what he could bring to a franchise, I did it at Jackson State. I did it in Colorado. And just the wherewithal, and it's funny because if you closed your eyes, it sounded like Deion Sanders. It was crazy. I watched it a couple times. But the confidence that young man has now because it's been proven. So it's not just him speaking, right? It's something that's been proven. I've gone to multiple places and done it, even when they said that I wasn't that guy. I went to Jackson State and I was that guy. And they said I couldn't do it at the Power 4 level, and I got it done there. And now he's one of the two best quarterbacks, right? Flip a coin between him and Cam. And I think that there's something to be said. But if you could watch them do that in a space like an all-star circuit, that would be essentially what club basketball is. It's cool to get to watch those matchups, and I think it makes it easier for myself, for college coaches, to be able to invest in players. And you still get it wrong. You watch those kids play, and Smoke, you hit it. Who really loves the hoop? Who's just here because they can play on a Tuesday morning at 7 in the morning in October? Who's going to get extra work? We don't know that. We just watch them play basketball games.
And the argument we'll get, we've talked about this before, there are people telling kids not to go to football camps because it's rigged. They're telling them guys not to go because the players are already predetermined. But you just can't evaluate guys if they don't participate in camp. Guys that want – and the big schools have always been like this. I've had players that were getting recruited by the University of Alabama, but your scholarship couldn't be finalized unless you went to camp and actually performed in front of Nick. Like, Nick had to watch you. It wasn't even just the position coaches. He was out there in every single drill coaching kids and evaluating you, saying you had to compete if you wanted to play at the University of Alabama. Dabo was the same way at Clemson, Smoke.
Right. And even with that, Reed, take it to another level. Nick was one of the first ones that got the workers at camp, the coaches. I was one of the camp coaches. You would have to write an evaluation on every player that was in your group, and he read every single one of them. And then he wanted to find out, what was that guy like over in the dorms? Did he leave his room a complete mess? You know, when you gave him direction, did he take it? Or was he one of them kids that was mouthed off? Was his coach on the sideline telling him what to do? Was he listening to his coach? Was he listening to you? And he took all of that in consideration of who he wanted on that team. And that's why you saw the first few years of Nick's program, dude, it was ran like a machine. As he got older and some guys got and switched in and out, you saw it slip a little bit. But initially, Reed, those camps were brutal, bro. 1,500 kids. The Bama group, the yellow group, the gray group, the crimson group. And you knew who was who. And if you were a camp coach and you weren't coaching it the right way and taking the right evaluation, yeah, you probably won't work there for the next year. And he meant it. And he signed every single last one of those evals. Didn't believe it until I went up there and watched him do it one night. Just sat there and went all the way through.
Gary, when we were playing, didn't we love to go to camp just to compete?
Oh, no question.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine having went to a camp and just watched?
No.
Waste of time.
It waste of time, waste of money. Right. It's there's something about our sport that requires that need to compete. Like you can't sit on the sideline and watch, right? I think you got to get in there and be in the middle of it. And you got to football for me is a different sport. I love basketball, B. Clay. I do. But I've heard too many hoopers. I know too many hoopers that tried football. And they say, man, I went over that middle one time, man, and they said I got to do this every day. I see, and I'll be in that gym, coach. It's cool in there too. I'm gonna go back inside.
That's the number one thing. You said it right there. Inclement weather.
It's
cold.
cold.
It's heavy out there. It's hot. It's cold. There are only like 4 if you play it on Friday nights. So, hey, Reed. I was in high school, right? We ran the wing T. They wanted me to play wide receiver.
For what?
I'm gonna play wide receiver. No, y'all are crazy.
Let me tell you. I'm gonna tell you now. You want me to tell you why they put you at wide receiver in the wing team? I ain't got to tell you. Everybody
He wanted them to block.
Everybody.
Hey, get down the block. But for me, you go to them camps, man. You got to have something in you that is willing to show up and show out. To the competitive part of you has to be willing to push through and not back down. It is a macho sport where man versus man, like I gotta be the best one. And if that means you're in my way to get to where I need to go, I gotta go through you. I'll go around you, but I prefer to go through you to get
fastest line straight through you. Reed, you've been to Bama camps, and I'm not just being a homer. They were the best ran camps. Period. And I worked almost every single one of them in the Southeast and on the East Coast. Best one ran. Period.
Best one that I've ever been to. I've been to them all over the country.
At some point, and then you know how hot it is down there in Tuscaloosa, Nick is going to start the entire drill over and make you start over from stretch and start it back over. And he wanted to make sure that temperature was hot enough that everyone was uncomfortable. And then he's going to give you that poor me speech. Poor me, it's hot. Poor me, you're tired. Poor me, no one gives two rats ass about how you feeling. If you want to come out here and play football for the University of Alabama, we separate y'all. The ones over there on the knee with getting water and pretending like they're tired, yeah, y'all ain't a part of it. And he told kids that. The ones that are over here taking instruction, wanting to get better, you're going to make your team better and have an opportunity to come here and play. But Reed, you know what? I'm going to touch on what B. Clay said about Shedeur and the flack that he's getting of being arrogant and too cocky. I don't know if you guys remember, 1998, there was a decision to pick two quarterbacks, Peyton Manning or Ryan Leaf, and it was close. Right? I wasn't a part of the evaluation because I was in high school, and I remember Peyton Manning vividly saying to all of the teams, "If you don't take me, you're going to regret it because I'm going to beat y'all ass every single time I see y'all." Now, what's the difference from Shedeur Sanders saying, "Everywhere I've been, I've won. So why are you guys questioning my ability to make a team play better?" One guy said it better. The other guy told you flat out, "You don't take me, I'm going to beat your ass." And he meant it in those words.
And I've been looking up mock drafts for the last couple of days since the combine ended. I've seen Shedeur in the top 5, top 10. I've seen him all the way to 20-something.
Blasphemous, bad behavior.
And
knock it off.
So for me, it is, but I also look at it as some teams on the back end that probably need a quarterback. My Pittsburgh Steelers being one of them. So if he do fall, if he
want him to fall,
if he happens to fall, and he's sitting there at what are they, 21, 20, whatever they are. Hey, man,
he's in a better situation.
Better team if you're later in the draft anyway. So you fall into one of them top 5, top 10 situations, you're gonna be ready to throw up pretty much every week trying to figure out how to get this thing going in the right direction. So I don't think it's a terrible thing. You know, if I was reading something, Josina Anderson had tweeted that there's a quarterback coach that's drafting in the top 7 that said he was too brash or they didn't like how he carried himself. And that's not the place for you. Because if I can't be me, then why do I want to be here? Why would we have to combat and go back and forth against each other? You're drafting me. Right. I'm going to be me. And I hope that the thing I hope for all of these players that do get drafted, you get drafted to a place that allows you to be you, that allows you to grow at the rate you need to grow, that is there to assist and nurture your growth as a football player and as a man. But every situation is not built for that. You're going to run into some situations where that coach is under so much pressure, they're going to have to get the hell up out of there if you don't play well right now.
Right.
And they're going to put that pressure onto you.
Right.
So my hope is that if you get to a situation, that every one of these young men get to a situation that allows them to be the best version of themselves. We know that's not going to be the case, but that's my hope for them.
Right. And even with that said, as a coach, it's your job also to teach. Right. It's okay to put your arm around Shedeur and say, "Hey, listen, I know that's how you feel, but in the world of dealing with adults and grown men, you don't necessarily have to say that every single time out of your mouth. Just let your actions speak a little bit more." And that's just an OG giving a young fella some guidance and information, right? Secondly, like you said, that team that takes you, the quarterback coach might not have wanted you. So when you go in there's going to be a little bit different coaching going on. It's called hate coaching. Mm-hmm. And I don't care what happens to your coaching because the head coach wanted you or the owner wanted you. So that's their guy. And that's where sometimes you see like the fraction and the divide within a team. So with a quarterback coach saying that, you never want an assistant to be able to come out and make some type of allegation about a player that you potentially might draft, because that's not his decision. Sorry, position coach, you don't have that much power.
Right.
That's an ownership, especially talking first round read, and a head coach decision. All you have to do is, you like him, great. How would you make him the best player through your coaching acumen? Not do you like him, yada, yada, yada. That ain't your decision.
I got a question for you. We talk about the coach saying that Shedeur is too brash. We talk about, guys not wanting to compete as much. Are we losing some of the toughness that you really need to be able to play the game at a championship level? Because when you talk about every year, every year, the teams that win the championships, man, they really physical. They're really tough. They really running through guys. So
they're about the action.
Everybody else, it seems like, is constantly going through turnover and turmoil because they just not quite tough enough. Football is still a game that has to be played by men moving other men against their will, is it not?
Absolutely. That's what it says over there in tackle football. That's awesome. Reed, so when you look at it, Reed, you're saying it, and I don't think they're hearing it. That's the reason why in the last few years you've seen Chiefs, Eagles. Has Tomlin ever missed the playoffs so far, champ?
No.
Not so much. Baltimore. And it's just, you just see the same team. And you're going to see Houston in there just because of mindset of organization. And I've always said it, Reed, ownership, head coach, quarterback, they all have to be aligned. And that's when you know that you have a true team. Rarely you're going to hear someone out of Pittsburgh, a position coach, say something out of pocket. Or Baltimore, say something out of pocket. Buffalo, out of pocket. Because there's only one voice in that building. And most likely, that's the head coach's voice.
One band, one sound.
There you go.
Guys, I was down in Houston, Texas this past weekend at the Endzone 7-on-7 tournament, 150 teams. This is a great event that's put on. A lot of talent there. I got a chance to see a lot of kids play. But in saying that, and it kind of goes into the competition I got an opportunity to pull a lot of kids to the side and say, you never know who's watching you. You got to be competing hard. It was a lot of former NFL players out there. Torrey Hurd was out there, former player with Texas A&M, the Tampa Bay Bucks. RG3 was out there coaching a team. You had a lot of former NFL guys. Even if it's not a college coach in attendance, a former NFL player, how many guys do those guys know that they can tell people about the game? Kerry, how important is it for guys to compete in everything they do?
I mean, you have to separate yourself. Like you have to. I think I got this. Like you have to be, and I think Reed, you might have been the one that told me this. Like when you're on the football field, man, you got to be the best player on the field, not the best quarterback, not the best running back, not the best offensive lineman or the best D-line, the best player of all positions. And I've had college coaches say this: when you watch film, if I don't watch the highlight tape, I should be able to know who you are. Like you should be able. I don't need to. You don't got to circle yourself or point an arrow at you or watch this. Nah, I'm gonna turn the film on. I'm gonna watch an entire game, and if I can see who is different on that film, that's who I want to recruit. That's the player I want to recruit. So you have to separate yourself. You can't be amongst everybody else and just one of the guys. You have to want to separate yourself. Like mentally, like football, sports in general, I don't care how physical you are, how your size, speed, weight, all of that, how fast you run, jump, all of that. Mentally, you have to want to separate yourself from the pack. You got to want to go to bed at night. You got to want to eat right. You got to want to drink enough fluids to make sure you're not cramping up. You got to want to study. You got to want to study film. You got to want to be in that weight room and exhausting yourself and getting your butt up and doing it again the next day. Like it has to be an insatiable need inside of you to want to do that and be that type of player if your aspirations are to play at the next level. If you just want to be one of the guys, be one of the guys. But don't tell me nothing about wanting to be great if you're not willing to put in the work to be great.
Reed, Kerry, you use the word want to. Like football is like a high percentage of want to.
Man.
You and I, we've all been around great athletes that their level of caring they want to is very minimal. And by the second day of 2 days, they are broken, hurt, on the sideline, something going on, this is pulled, that don't feel right because they're not 100%. And then you see the young guy that has that want to just past him over and over and over again because their desire is not there. And that's why we tell parents, coaches, handlers, runners, whatever you want to call yourself, that's why real football coaches want to see your kids show up to camp so we can see them work through adverse situations so we can properly put an eval on them and give them the check of, yep, we want them and your offer is committable, or we found out something that, don't sit right with me. I want to be bothered with them. And if you don't want the kids showing up in adverse situations, because you know something about them that you don't want us to know.
Yeah.
So you're telling me with your actions, less with your words.
I saw this video. I should have sent it to y'all. It was after a 5 a.m. workout, and we've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
And the video, the guy was in the locker room. He turned the camera on one of his teammates who was contemplating life. Like, do I want to do this for the rest? Like, do I want to do this tomorrow?
Because you got to do it every day.
Next week, every single player that I know, I know Hall of Famers who have felt this at some point in college. I might not be able to do this, man. Like, I might not be able to do this anymore. And the difference is there are some that say that to themselves and they go home and they don't come back and they quit. And then there are some that face that moment that we've all been in and looking at the wall like, God, give me a sign, help me, please, somebody. And ain't nobody there to save you. It's nobody coming to save you, bro.
Man in the mirror.
Be sitting there staring at the wall and asking yourself and God, are you built for this moment? And and you either gonna answer yay or nay.
Ain't no in between.
It ain't no halfway, bro. It's not. It's a point that every player come to where they looking up and they like, I might not. I don't know if I can do this no more.
Or Kerry, you know what? You remember when we used to do 9-on-7?
Oh God!
And he was 9-on-7. Gotta. Fran used to call it. Dennis Franz used to call it. Gotta get after that ass drill.
I hate
it.
And
you, Carl, and all of y'all box players over there, and you hear the ones that want to get out. My shoulder, and all of y'all over there just wow, and then y'all come over just sweating, drenched, and the ones that take their helmets off like this and grab that water and be like, man, I'm gonna knock the out next time I see you. Are the ones that you want to go to war with. The ones over there tell me it's right here. I can feel it right here, the pain, right? And I can't really feel that. You can't feel that hand again.
Smoke. Let me tell you the best part about 9-on-7. When I became a veteran or an upperclassman and I could send one of them young boys to go do it. Hey.
Man, the best part about 9-on-7 is when it's over, is when its period is over. That's the best part about it.
But y'all knew when y'all looked at the practice script, we weren't supposed to get a hold of it, but we got it. B Clay was like, okay, we got first Indy boom 9-on-7 1-on-1s. All right, cool. I'm good after that.
We gotta get through that. If I get through that, the rest of the practice down here, we got live at the end of practice. That's cool because there's gonna be some passes in there. I'm gonna slip out into the flat. I'm a pass pro. But 9-on-7 ISO
all run, and
y'all coach want to run a draw in 9-on-7. Who's dropping back for the pass, my man? ISO. I'm shuffling.
They're coming right down here.
Coming down here. This is not realistic, sir.
And there was no heat. There was no heat warnings back then.
No, ain't none of that. Ain't none of that. And B Clay, here's what Carl and Kerry used to grab by. If nobody knows what 9-on-7, that's really a defensive drill.
It is only a defensive
because it's two safeties that aren't accounted for.
Hold on, give them the number. It's 9 on 7.
That's why it's called 9 on 7, right?
It's 9 defenders and it's 7 offensive players.
And we're not in the age. And we're not in the age where there were quarterback runs. So really take the quarterback out of it.
Yeah.
And calling them, you say, "Yeah, tell the DB he got a flat foot. Read it. He ain't flat. He just running down here. And we
Down here, fill in the lane. Alley player. Why are you here, sir?"
So it was really an unrealistic drill, but it was mano a mano. And really, if you got 5 yards or 4 yards in 9 on 7,
you earned it.
You're doing it. You pop one, defensive coach is going to hell.
We got a question here from Shelly R. She wants to know, are the camps by invitation, or can you pay and attend? All the college camps pretty much you can go to. You can pay and you can go and be evaluated.
It's open for everybody because college rule says you cannot make camp only limited to players that you want. Yeah, everyone's invited.
Hey, I got something on the camp tip, but before that, Kerry, I want to touch on something you said. I like it, but I'm going to put an asterisk by it. You said I shouldn't need to put a circle or an arrow, right? I live in a school district. I live in Beaufort City School District. Beaufort is good.
Beaufort,
listen, KJ Bolton, Justice Haynes. They're on the same team.
Isaiah Bond.
Yeah, right, all on the same roster. So if you're like the first string, but you're the first string outside linebacker on that roster, you might need to circle it because you only have about 10 plays a game in which you're the one that pops off the screen. Yeah. All the rest of the time is Isaiah Bond at corner or KJ Bolton in safety. You know what I mean? Like it's somebody else.
Jake Pope.
Listen, I can literally name a dozen, not to mention the offensive line. There are 20 guys in class that go play college football there. Yes. But I agree with what you're saying. I just want to put that asterisk there so people don't feel bad if they do need to put the circle there. It's okay if you play with other players.
Justin, the son of my former teammate and the nephew of one of my close friends. So yeah,
is that Jay Hayes, folks?
I'm always rooting for him.
That's awesome.
Jay Hayes, folks.
Justice, I said.
Okay, listen, B Clay.
Yeah, B. I
evaluated that entire team, and you know when you look at Buford U, what you're getting. Now it's on you to say, how can I separate these few? Because they're third teamers. Would like
That's
that.
Good. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're third teamers like that.
Those guys are going to play college somewhere. They play college football at the berries of the world, like at the smaller schools of the world that have football, man. Yes, sir.
Yes. Tyrone Davis does an outstanding job as a recruiting coordinator over there. Yep. Gives you everything that you need when you walk up in there. Coach App, awesome job, man. Always took care of me.
We're talking about Buford, right? One of the best programs in the nation. And what do you do? A lot of parents ask me, let's say you play in Iowa, or you play in Idaho, Smoke, or you play in North Dakota, and you want to be seen. You don't feel like you're getting exposure. What do you do in those situations?
Reed, you know what? If this was when we came out 25 years ago, I would say that's a problem. But working for 24/7, like they have people all over the place, and your film is out there on Huddle. But the best thing I would tell anybody, show up to a camp, several of them, and put in work. The second that you get an Iowa offer, Michigan's going to look up and say, hold on, Iowa does a pretty good job of evaluating the players in their state. If he's the number one player coming out in Iowa, there's something to him. And they're going to start doing their work. And when Michigan throws the offer out on you, the Buckeyes going to do the same thing. Buckeyes do it, Bama's going to do it. Penn State's going to do it. And that's how you started. But if you don't have that much notoriety, go to camps. Show up and show out. And that's how you start your training. And if you aren't getting scholarship offer from camps, then you can drop down to a lower level and go to their FCS camp and see what that's all about. Or the group of 5 camps. But the way to get put on is showing up to camps, because now they have positions, general managers that are setting up personnel departments within universities to go out and uncover those stones to make sure those are diamonds, not dirt underneath them.
The last thing I want to touch on, because I was having this conversation with some young college coaches the other day, Smoke, I think a lot of guys, a lot of young coaches are having trouble with the front office model in college football. We saw some major GM hires the past week. Brandon, you brought it up early in the week. Jim Nagy leaving the Senior Bowl, going to the University of Oklahoma. Mike Martin leaving the Detroit Lions, going to Notre Dame. And it's a couple more, big hires that have happened. Brandon Harris signed an extension at Texas.
Michael Lombardi getting 1.5.
Michael Lombardi getting 1.5 at North Carolina. Do college coaches, position coaches now, do they have to embrace the new model?
Absolutely.
Where they're not going to get total control over their room?
Absolutely, because it's not going anywhere. And it's not like the personnel departments are taking recruiting away from you. They're just helping you with the talent identification and widening the net out past your area that you recruited or past your position group. If I was a college coach right now and I have a trusted personnel member in my department, yeah, I'm loving it because you're making life easy for me. All I have to do now is just evaluate the tape on the players that you have for me. And then we all sit down there and select the ones that we want. But I don't have to go out there and unearth them anymore. You're doing that for me. And you're giving me the best 15, 20, whatever it is that I have to select from to get down to 2 or 3 and recruit them.
Kerry, I just got a text on my phone. Somebody asked, "Do you want to coach again, Kerry? Are you in the market? Can if principals and athletic directors, if they want to coach, can they call?"
My phone is on ring, so somebody want to call me and talk to me. We can definitely have a conversation.
Give me
always. My phone stay on. You got to call me before 10 p.m. though, and after 7 a.m. That's my business hours. It's on.
I hear you, Big Red.
I need my sleep. That's my sleep time.
If you have to call them after 10, you can call me. I'll be able to get a hold of them.
Yeah, you get a hold of me. If it's that important, now if we talking turkey, yeah, you can call me after 10.
All I got to do is send them a message.
I will call you back. Can you hear me?
on the way out, let me say this, Reed, to the camp discussion. I forgot to put this in here. The longer, especially on the basketball side, but I think this goes to football too, the more camps you can go to within reason, right? I know people have limited time and limited disposable income, but you can't hurt yourself going to camp. You can't hurt yourself going to basketball league camp and actually playing basketball. You can't hurt yourself going to football camp and actually running, right? Like if you go to 3 camps in a row and you put up 4 8s at 3 camps, you know what you need to do when you go home? Get faster, whatever that is, right? You can't hurt yourself going out and going to perform and giving yourself an opportunity to be really good and on the right day. And again, I think we as adults so do a great job of talking about how small the worlds are. I might see someone play basketball. I know that they're not capable of playing at my university, but I know someone who just talked to me, or I just talked to me. It was my college roommate. I played ball with them. They got a scholarship. They need it. I connect them. I've seen so many kids get on like that, and that's football, basketball, baseball, whatever. I just think in the era, even to the point of even if you live in a major metropolitan area, you go to Buford U, you still should go run. You should go to camp and you should go run. Go put up a time in front of those guys. On the basketball side, you should go to camp. You should go play. Well, they hadn't offered me yet. Okay, there's a difference in someone stringing you along and someone just not offering you. Go run. Go hoop. There's nothing that can come out of that is a positive. Go do what you're supposed to do. It's a job interview. The more job interviews you can go on, the more prepared you are, the more you know how to answer questions. You get used to the whole process of it, the whole day of it, what that looks like. It's, the draft combine over and over and over again. By time number 15, I'm really well versed and they might know who I am before I even get in there. So I think there's a power to it. If you can get to cut camps and hit the camp circuit again within reason, and I think trying to figure out what levels are too. Make sure you're going to different levels of camp. Go to Lindenwood, go to Mizzou, go to the mega camp, mix up your camps, and just you'll start getting offers. And if you're really that good, you'll get offers everywhere you go. And that tells you that you're that level. If you're really pretty good, you could offer at Lindenwood, but not Mizzou. Great. At least you got one offer now. And just kind of let it work from there.
B. Clay, real quick, where is EYBL at this summer?
You know what? I do not know where the boys' dates are. I know the girls' side is going to be Virginia. They split stop at Louisville, Vegas. or Houston, Vegas. Then they go Louisville and Birmingham, and they finish up in Chicago. But I'm not sure what the boys are. That's a good question.
All y'all college football coaches, go to EYBL and go find you a tight end, a DN,
yeah, man,
a linebacker,
man.
An old lineman. If y'all
man,
it's a bunch of them kids that are not going to play college basketball, but they damn sure can play college football. You better go to find the EYBL near you and go talk to one of them boys that can actually move and is 6'5" and can actually run and jump.
And there are a bunch of Malachi Starks out there trying to play two guard at 6'2", man.
It's so many of them skilled guys and O-line and big body guys that can actually move. You better go find one.
Guys like Antonio Gates.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do, I want to see a two-sport athlete. I want to see an offensive lineman play basketball. I want to see how you move on that baseline, at the box, footwork, slide. Go ahead.
I don't want to come to your basketball game and watch you hack people and get 5 fouls.
I ain't hacked nobody, Reed. I played basketball. I played damn well, didn't I?
Hey, I talked to Joe Shelton. I talked to Joe Shelton the other day. He said you don't want no problem.
Joe in his time was cold as could be. That boy had 2 points on me. Had 11 on the game.
Joe Shelton
told me
basketball. Go up there, stay up there.
Hey, Joe Shelton told me the other day, right, that he gave you 28.
He did not tell you that. And that's
what he told me.
Hey, can I ask both of you guys? Are y'all talking about St. Louis basketball?
Yeah.
Okay, listen, BK, let's get to real basketball.
Oh. Where they play that at?
Man, okay. Pull up to the DMV, okay, and roll a basketball out. Any court. We got it.
Oh.
Hey, St. Louis has been, I got it respectfully. St. Louis has been really good, man, the past 20 years now. Bill, Jason Tatum. I'm sure it extends. I wasn't around, so it might be further back than that. I can't speak.
It's plenty. You got Chris.
Now you just said
Chris Carroll was nice. Come on, man.
Jahadi White.
Chaminade, right? Am I right?
Jahadi went to.
They went to Cardinal Riddle.
Cardinal Riddle. Okay, who was the Bill? Was the Chaminade crew? David Lee was David Lee beginning of Chaminade, or am I incorrect? Yeah. Okay.
Now listen.
That's 4.
Who you trying to talk about?
He wasn't talking about Durant and the DMV, man. He was talking about Durant.
B. Clay and I talking about women's basketball. Pull up to Bishop McNamara, B. Clay.
Hey, I watched them out in Arizona, man.
I'm not doing this with y'all. Hey, before we get out of here,
that's LeBron James and Bishop Mac, man.
If we do rankings right now on who has the best hair on this panel, I would be ranked number 1.
I don't know. I got my beard is
I'm the only one who can participate.
I don't know, Reed. I'm still
wondering. Reed, you're one of them dudes that is holding. You know when you hold on to that rope and it's just burning your hand?
Man, he been holding on to that thing.
Hey, Reed, I see something in the comments. I want to grab it real quick. Post game asked about Notre Dame becoming a top 1 to 2 program again. They're already there. They were just in the national championship game. You answered your own question.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame has the easiest way to get to the playoffs every single year, but they're still a good program. They just don't get tested much.
I don't disagree with that. But they're there, though, to answer the question that was asked of us. Yeah. What do they need to do? They lost in the final game of the year. They're already there.
Rinse and repeat.
To do that consistently, if I'm nitpicking, I would say they need some game-breaking speed on the outside.
Hard to get them game breakers. Game breakers don't go to class much, Reed.
Do you even got to go to class now? They got everything on the internet.
Yeah, you got all.
But Notre Dame ain't taking just everybody.
I would have been on the honor roll if we would have had internet classes when I was in school. I could have put my PlayStation on one side and my laptop on the other. But back then, I just had my PlayStation. I didn't make it to class too much. That's why we got all this information to do. You know what I mean?
You're right.
But listen, back to that. We're gonna get out of here. All right, guys. I got all 3 of your addresses. I'm gonna send you some razors, for you to help shave your head. You really don't even need razors because your hair doesn't even really grow back, but mine does.
You see how far you have to put your hand all the way back here to grab your hair? If you got to do this, B, it ain't much. You like,
Oh man,
put it right here, but you got to come here with it. Yeah,
No, my line.
That's
It is not there.
The ring.
Stop doing that.
That's the ring light.
Stop doing that.
My
It is
line is
not
at
there.
the front of my. What are you talking about,
Go
bro?
up. Go up.
Keep
What are
going.
you talking
Go
about,
back.
bro?
Keep
Keep going.
going.
Lamar.
What are you talking about? My line.
You in the middle of your forehead, brother.
you
Stop.
dudes have made my whole week with this. This is hilarious.
Hey, I'm gonna end it on this note. B, you remember this? I told somebody this on the show back in the day. They still don't speak to me since then. I told them, hating is a disease. Get well soon, my brother.